Hello everyone, Stephen Wade Nebgen from ShowbizAZ.net. Today we're coming to you from the Alwun House in downtown Phoenix. It's located at 12th Street and Roosevelt. I'm here today with Kim Moody, the founder and director of the Alwun House, and his partner Dana Johnson, who is the director of the board. We're here to interview them and celebrate the installation of their new sign.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate your being here.
Welcome to Alwun House.
Thanks, Dana. So, Kim, Dana, why the Alwun House? Why start this project in the 70s? This area is an absolute ghost town. Why Alwun House downtown?
Alwun House downtown, it was starting with a vision. It took that seed to start it, and that was that all artists could work together in one place. I mean, you could have the pantomime, you could have the orchestra, you could have the theater, you could have dance. All these arts speak one language, stating who we are and why we're here. And why we selected Alwun House is because it was in an area that was depressed at the time. And it was an area that was neglected, but hey, I'm a native and I grew up within 2 blocks of this place, so I knew that this area had some treasure in it. And when I saw this house, the artists that were gathering around us at the time of the vision saying, we want this place. These are forward-thinking people that have studied Teilhard de Chardin, that had studied the philosophies of various cultures. And we thought this would be the ideal place. This house in Garfield at a collector street where there is some traffic, not as much as there is today, but there was some traffic, and the potential was there. So we said, let's turn this space, which had lots of garden space in it and a lot of growth opportunities. It only had a driveway at the time, but we were fortunate that a lot of the people that were joining us at that point at the Alwun House believed in gardening, and we created a film out of that called Food for Thought, which is on our website. But it was like one of those things that brought people together, and we knew we could do gardens because we had the skills, and by golly, we're called a cultural oasis for more than one reason.
Okay, so you found Alwun, you then find your space. What were some of the first things that Alwun started to do in its early years?
And we evolved from our gardening roots. What we did was develop multimedia where we brought in multiple theater, multiple performers of mime and poetry and music and gongs. We've had gong meditations here.
Gong meditations, so that's a little bit more on the subtle end of things. Maybe let us know a little bit more of the more exotic end of things, the Caribbean carnivals.
You're right, carnival. That was one spectacular growth from our more sublime gongs and meditation retreats and of the nature of the esoteric. We did evolve to say, well, let's get the community involved. Let's expand beyond this enclave of thinkers and doers, and let's get involved in community. So we brought together reggae, which at the time radio stations pronounced Reggie, and this was in the 80s, so people hadn't really gotten the island flavor yet. So we introduced in our carnivals, they were rooftops of Valley National Bank parking structure at Wesley Bonin Plaza, 17,000 people, a lot of the beat and the Caribbean and the native peoples, and even Brazilian bachata. So people like Zoom Zoom Zoom, Zarco and Carmen Guerra, they helped merge these various arts and community together.
So in some ways that sounds very much like a precursor to the current First Fridays. Alwun House was one of the founders of First Fridays. How did that come about?
It's interesting you mentioned First Friday because that happened right about the time of Carnival, and there was only like 3 or 4 art galleries at the time, and we said, we've got to let people know we're downtown, we're doing something. And sure enough, it grew from those 3 or 4 galleries, which we were the founding gallery, the only gallery, And we got our 4 other friends in the area and said, okay, let's do a First Friday where we can invite people down and see this is really happening. Well, it evolved to, well, near 90 galleries now, and that's the sensation of what we see when you see Roosevelt Row. Well, gee, after Roosevelt Row became so successful and we have such community engagement, we said, well, let's have an art district overlay which can develop adaptive reuse of the buildings and create an identity that lets the artists create and live like we have, establish their homes. And so be able to have this environment. So we do have an arts district now as a result of those efforts.